Rejoice, unlimited enthusiasts, for a new age has come upon us, an age of plotting, an age of politics, and an age of claiming power through political pressure. It is time for a new meta to rise, a meta of power, more specifically, a meta of secrets of power. That is right, everyone. Happy release of the 6th set of Star Wars Unlimited Secrets of Power, or probably what's going to be abbreviated as SOP, S-O-P. That's typically what they do. Or it could be SEP, S-E-P, so we'll have to kind of see how it is abbreviated, but Legends of the Force was LOF. But nonetheless, we're not talking about reducing the name of Secret of Power, or what it's all going to be called. We are talking about right now, right here, the 2 Spotlight decks. As well as in the future, I will also be busting a full booster box of Secret of Power, as well as 2 Carbonites of Secret of Power for you all. So stay tuned for those videos. But today we are looking at each Spotlight deck for Secrets of Power. We have Chancellor Palpatine. I believe it's Chancellor Palpatine. He's blue already, so I believe he might be yellow. And then this is Padme Amidala, and I believe it's green as well because of C-3PO and as well as the Ahsoka specialty card in here. And I know he's blue. I'm just forgetting. I don't know what his secondary color is. I believe it's yellow. But nonetheless, we're going to open up both of these. We've opened up so far since starting doing these. I think we've opened up. I think we've only opened up the Spotlight decks for LOF. We didn't open them for JTL. JTL's again was Han and Boba. So I decided I'll open these up, both of you, so that you can see the content inside, see which one you feel is the better one for you. Once again, you don't have to pick up either of these. These specialty rare cards do come in the main set now as foils and as hyperspace foils, so you can get those in the main sets. You don't even have to get these. Every single card in here besides the leader is in the main set itself. And not mentioning, if you go to a pre-release, you automatically get the hyperspace versions of the leader. So technically you don't have to get either of these. I just like getting both of them because I automatically can playset the cards out of here that are from the main set, as well as I can get my normal specialty rare cards. Because again, just getting specialty rare cards from the set sometimes can be a little hard. So this just guarantees me these specialty rare cards from the set. Not mentioning it now, we get a pack of Secrets of Power in each set, or each Spotlight. So once again, if you're new to Star Wars Unlimited, before you wouldn't have Spotlight decks. Before you'd actually get like a 2-player starter kit that became with both decks and the leaders automatically in one thing. Spark Rebellion, Shadow of the Galaxy, and Twilight Republic did that respectively. And then when JTL came, or Jump to Lightspeed, we got Spotlight leaders. So it kind of allows you to pick the leader that really feels to you. Are you more for the Chancellor, or you're more for like Princess Amidala? And again, I do want to help you guys if you're curious on seeing what the decks are, all that, because there's no like deck list. There's nothing in here that tells you what you get in this box. Like there's no breakdown of the set on the back of it. It just tells you it's a 50 card fixed deck, 1 base, 1 leader card. It is green. It is Leia green back here, and then you get your 3 double-sided token cards, 31 counters, 1 booster pack, and then the Chancellor is also green. Sorry, they're both green. So it's Vigilance, Villainy command, and then it is a Cunning, Heroic command. So I want to break these down for you so that you can kind of get the idea of which one you want to pick out yourself if you're still on that fence of buying one of these 2 decks. So without further ado, let's start with Chancellor Palpatine. I feel that is the best leader to start off with here. So let's bust open this box. I really don't need to keep it, so it's that. Okay. All right. So once again, inside you just get your 1 booster pack of Secrets of Power. Here we got the Jabba art. You get your tokens that you can use with here. Again, it's interesting that the set for the intro to Battle Hoth just released this set of tokens right here, which is a much harder cardboard, and they got 3s in here. It's interesting they didn't decide to print 3s for this one. It's kind of interesting. So if you don't have tokens, you can use this one. I use a spin down counter for my base, and I use dice for my units. So you could do that. It also gives you all of your tokens, as well as when you burn your epic action and your initiative token. I just had 3D prints of those for myself. And then, of course, you get your nice rice paper covered deck. So before we begin that, let's jump this booster here. Let's see what we got. Our leader will be Sly Moore. Alright, I was just maybe hoping we would get a showcase out of it. So anyways, we got Sly Moore right there for you all. We'll talk about all of these cards when we bust open the booster box. I'm just going to show you this. A Hyperspace Naval Intelligence HQ. Then we have a Feed Secretary, Populist Champion, with thunderous applause. So this is how democracy dies, with a thunderous applause. Strike Force X-Wing, Catch Unawares, the Assassin Probe, Contraband Starhopper. The ISB Agent did get a reprint in the set, so he is now legal. He was from originally from Spark of the Rebellion. He is now legal in the rotation. Once again, as a reminder, in February or March, before the release of the 7th set, we will rotate in Star Wars Unlimited. We will lose Spark Rebellion, Shadows of the Galaxy, and Twilight of the Republic, all to a legacy, like expanded format, and then your premiere format will be just what is in rotation, which will be Jump to Light Speed, Legends of the Force, and Secrets of Power, alongside, of course, A Lawless Time, which will be the 7th official set of the game. The Great Veteran, Oppression Breeds Rebellion, the Primor Personal Carrier, the Coronet, Major Partagaz, and then the Bartonian Thornhopper. So that's our holo. So we got a rare and a holo. Alright, let's bust open this. I do like this rice paper wrapping for these starter decks. It feels so nice tearing them off, and it's really, really just nice. So, our leader for this Spotlight deck, of course, like I said, is Chancellor Palpatine. So he's Vigilance and Villainy, and in action, pay 1, tap him, search the top 5 cards of your deck for a card with plot, reveal it, and draw it. Put the other cards at the bottom of your deck in a random order. He does flip over for 7, 4, 6, 8, and when deployed, the next card you play using plot this phase costs 3 less. So plot, if you're unaware, is the new mechanic in Star Wars Unlimited that's very similar to Smuggle, where you can basically a plot card can come out of your resources the turn that your leader is awakened. So every time your leader is awakened, you can use a plot card. So in this case, since this leader is only an epic action, one-time use flip leader, you can only really summon out 1 plot card for the entirety of that turn. Now, we do have leaders like Bail Organa from the set, as well as Trench from JTL, that do not have an epic action that can manipulate and constantly bring out plot cards. We do also have cards that can bring out plot from our resources as well. But plot's a new mechanic. It's just like Smuggle, but it just has a restriction that you can't play them from your resources unless you awaken your leader. So with that said, you do get a green base in the Senate Rotunda. So there you go. We do get some spy tokens, the newest token. It's interesting that the only tokens we got out of this set are spies and experience. So we didn't get any shield art for this set. We got spies and experience. It was very interesting. We really didn't get any shield arts, so I'm kind of interested on that one. Again, we do have like Palpatine tips and tricks to help you out with, of course, the deck if you ever need to like figure out some plays with it, if you're like trying it out for the first time. Anyways, after that we do get some one-ofs and Major Pardags, the Chancellor Palpatine, Newt Gunray, Vice Admiral Rampart. Then we do get, of course, a couple of older cards. This one, of course, being from LOF, so we do get a card from LOF. So most of the cards here are going to be in rotation so far in the Tragedy of Plagueis. Again, we're not going to break down all of these cards here. That will be done when we bust open the booster box. You get your triple Corrupt Politician. This is, of course, a specialty rare card from this set that states while you control more units than your opponent, it gains Sentinel. It's a 1 for 2/2. 2 Dalfini Pilgrim. Trip 1 Jar Jar Binks. Triple Onyx Squadron Brute. Triple of the other specialty rare from this set being, of course, the Chancellor Shuttle with 2/1/3. It has Restore 1, and then when defeated, you control Chancellor Palpatine as a leader or a unit. You may give an experience token to this unit. We do, of course, have another Chancellor Palpatine unit. It's the Chancellor Palpatine slash Darth Sidious leader from Twilight of the Republic. Double Vanny, triple ISB Shuttle, triple Political Bully, double Masmada, double Slymore, triple Cad Bane, the other specialty rare from this set. That is 5 for 5, that when played you may defeat a unit with 2 or less remaining HP, and then does have plot, and like I said, plot states when you deploy a leader, you may play this card from your resource, paying its cost, replacing the top card of your deck. Top card of your deck as that resource. So you do get your triple Cads, and you would get 1 Deidre Mero, triple Dogmatic Shock Squad, which also, of course, has the plot mechanic to it. Triple I Am the Senate. Of course, that's the famous line when the Mace Windu and the other Jedi come to capture, of course, Chancellor Palpatine in connection to him being Darth Sidious, the Dark Lord of the Sith. So he, of course, tells them that he is the Senate. So you just create straight 5 spy tokens with that. Which again, spies are the new major token mechanic for the game. It's kind of a very interesting one. We have 1 Cantwell Arrestor Cruiser. When has become now, which is the another way for just villainy to play plot from their resources. You may play a card with plot from your resource, paying its cost, and put the top card of your deck to play as a resource. So it's just kind of a interesting way to play a plot card without flipping your leader. Double Armor of Fortune, which of course has a plot. Double Budget Scheming. I do like the art on Budget Scheming. We've got Dark Sidious in the middle, or the Emperor, and then we have Director Krennic, Grand Moff Tarkin, and then Grand Admiral Thrawn all talking politics with the good old Emperor. They're talking budgeting. You know, even in the Empire, they gotta budget their money. 2 Unveiled Might, 1 Charged with Murder, and then finally 2 Retaliation. So the whole aspect here is that let's read some of these tips and tricks from this card here, just kind of get an idea of what you're supposed to do in this deck. So tips: play a board first. Play to the board first. You don't always need to draw a card with Palpatine's ability, and sometimes it's depending on a resource to play a powerful unit. So basically, they're kind of telling you you don't always have to use Palpatine's ability to search the top 5 your cards. Sometimes it's nice to just play out the board and not use this, and maybe use this in future turns, setting up for those good plot cards in the starter deck. Some other good tips they have. Basically, sometimes spending all your resources to play a powerful unit is more important, which is really good. Plotters like to wait. You don't need to deploy your leader the round. You have 7 or more resources. It's valid with the wait as long as you have played more. So you can play more plots. Basically, again, plot states anytime your leader comes out, you play that card for its resources. So say for instance you're at 7 resources, and you could then say play a might, an Unveil Might. So basically you play when you deploy your leader, you may play this card for resource, paying it. So basically you can play that. Then maybe you can play an Armor of Fortune, or maybe you want to play out, say, Dogmatic Shock Squad plus maybe an Armor of Fortune. So it's kind of an interesting idea of when your leader's revealed, kind of maybe playing more plot off of it from what it sounds like. We'll have to kind of see how that rules out, how many plot cards can you technically play a turn when you bring your leader out. I technically would think until you technically run out of resources, because plot technically says whenever you bring out your resource, when you deploy your leader, you may play this card for your resource, paying its cost. So it's whenever you deploy. So if you have action, you deploy, and then you should be able to pay for the plot. Definitely going to have to probably read some FAQs on that for sure. Another one is your first plot will cost 3 less, will be replaced by an exhausted resource from your deck. So make sure the first plot you play deploy costs 4 more. So basically, like Unveiled Might, you don't want to use Armor of Fortune in this case, because technically, because you'll put your top resources even in for free. You burn this one, but then the resource that replaces this comes in rested, so you couldn't even do much with it. For instance, Dogmatic Shock Squad could come in for 3. So basically, they're saying pay for think of it as if you're going to pay 4 resources for the card you're plotting out. Some nice tricks for the deck. A popular plot sequence is on source 7, you go Slimemoor into Masmana into Jar Jar Binks, which provided a devastating 9-power leader attack. What's your favorite set of plots? Since spies can't be dealt with easily, they're most effectively used by attacking enemy units so that they can ensure they get damage on the board. So basically, they're basically telling you, because these guys are 0-2 with raid 2, to kind of attacking enemy units and hitting them for that extra 2 damage instead of attacking your opponent's board state in a way. And the play they're telling you to do is to go on your 7th turn, is they're telling you to plot out Slimemoor, probably using the Chancellors to reduce it by 1. So you plot out Slimemoor, and then when played for each phase, each enemy unit gets -2 while it's attacking a base. For this phase, each enemy unit, so basically you nullify. So basically this would be your first flip for the turn. So you go Slimemoor, and then you go Masmana. Let's see, there's Mr. Binks. Where's Mr. Mata? He's only a 1-of in this deck. There he is. No, he's a 2-of. So then you would plot out Masmana next. So basically at this point, you would have paid 1 resource for this, then you'd pay 4 for this, and then when played, you get 2 experience tokens to 2 other official units, like Slimemoor. Chancellor Palpatine is also an official, and then you would bring out Jar Jar Binks. When played, you may give another friendly unit +2 for this phase, then you just bump up the Chancellor as well, +2/+2, So yeah, that is interesting. So they're basically telling you right there that what my suspicion was, that the fact is that you can, when you flip your leader, you are just allowed to play as many plot cards as you want for the turn from your resources, which makes it interesting, you know. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just that I just can't be sold too much on the plot mechanic. There's just so much little I feel about plot that it's not really strong in my opinion, anything like that. So I'm not overly sold on plot as a good mechanic right now. Maybe I'll be sold when I try out and see what's really being played for plot and all that. As well as, if you were ever curious, there, of course, is the back of the base, is where the entirety of the set lies. So if you were ever curious about this, that's where you can find the set. Now, you did see there's a lot of 1-ofs in here, a lot of 1-ofs and 2-ofs in here. So that does mean that if you were looking to get a full play set of everything in here, you would have to go online. You would have to pick up the cards, or you'd need to bust a couple boosters to do that as well. But for your specialty rare cards, you are guaranteed your play set of them. So that is Chancellor Palpatine there. We read through some nice tips and tricks to play the Chancellor himself. So with that said, it is time from the Chancellor, a man, a scheming for evil, playing both sides, to the woman that wanted to truly bring the Republic to greatness. It's time to crack open Padme Amidala. Alright, 1 Padme Amidala. Spotlight deck. Coming right up. We got another Jabba the Hutt art pack. They really want you to open these things from the bottom because of this, I don't know, this little tab right here. They want you to crack it from the bottom. All right. Well, again, tokens. I just have a friend who really likes these, so I'm keeping that from my friend. Otherwise, I would just throw them out. We got our Jabba pack. Let's see if we get lucky here. Showcase. Oh, nope. Just a Colonel Yularen normal art right there for you all. Then we'll have a Republic City. There are no rare bases in this set as well, so it's all just common bases. So the base slot is always filled by just a common. Nimble Prowess, Budget Scheming, Congress of Malastare, Senator's Aid, Sudden Ferocity, Catch All Wares, Assassin Probe, Contraband Starhopper, ISB Agent, Valiant Commando, Wilro Hood, Screeching TIE Fighter, Chancellor Palpatine, who says it, of course, I am the Senate. Of course, we saw the card, I am the Senate as well. And of course, then he goes, Rah! Spins around and attacks the Jedi. And then we have a Hollow Hunting Assassin Droid. Alright, enough looking at that. You came to look at the Spotlight deck for Padme Amidala. So, Padme Amidala, like I said, is cunning heroic. And it states on her front side, when you reveal or discard one or more cards from your hand, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit. She flips 4/6, and then she is 3/8 with the exact same text on her backside. She just doesn't tap down. And when you reveal or discard one or more cards from your hand, you may deal 1 damage to a unit. So basically, in essence, she's basically like a reveal mechanic. So in the game, we had the new disclose mechanic in the game. So you disclose cards. Padme can then trigger that 100 times over. By the way, her backside is not a hard once per turn, unlike her front side, where you exhaust the leader and you do it. Her front side is not a once per turn ability. So as long as you are revealing cards, you can constantly get that 1 ping off as well. So I could always see a lot of people using like Tarkentown with her, so that you can automatically start doing stuff with that. So be very interesting. And then we're going to go for the Senate Rotunda as the base. Once again, the entire set is back on the back of this. We're also going to get our triple spy. So that's real nice. We do have our tips and tricks. We'll read some tips and tricks for Miss Padme Amidala so we can see what's going on. And then we have 1 Seasoned Fleet Admiral, 1 Naboo Royal Starship, 1 Mon Mothma, 1 Moral Authority. If you're a fan of Set 2's capture mechanic, that was Shadow of the Galaxy started the capture mechanic where cards could capture other cards. It is back now in Secrets of Power. Dismantle the Conspiracy, C-3PO, triple Furtive Handmaiden. Again, this is especially rare from the set. On attack, you may discard a card from your hand. If you do draw a card, that would then also trigger Padme's ability, because you technically did discard a card. Double Bail Organa, double Bravo Squadron Fighter, 1 Jar Jar Binks, double Mina Britannia, which of course does have the Disclose, which again triggers the ability of Padme. Usually what these decks want to do is that they will facilitate their leaders. The spotlights will always facilitate their leaders of what they're meant to do. Double M1 Starfighter, triple Ahsoka Tano, 3/2/5. When this unit completes an attack, you may disclose a command and heroic, which can be this as well. So you don't have to disclose 2 cards. If you disclose another Padme Amidala, or you disclose, say, a C-3PO, because the C-3PO's effect to return himself to the hand and give a unit +2/+2 for the face, then you could just reveal it with Ahsoka Tano, and that does give you the colors that you are meant to disclose. If you do attack with another unit, so after she completes an attack and survives, then you can disclose to then get another attack going, which is pretty nice. Triple Anakin Skywalker, specialty rare. He has Hidden, which again came from LOF, which means that the turn they are played, they cannot be attacked unless they are given Sentinel. And then he's 3/4/3/4, which states also if you control Padme Amidala as a leader or a unit, he gains Raid 2. Padme also has, she's got, I think, I don't know if she has any units. I think she does. I can't remember. I know she has a leader from Twilight of the Republic. That's the coordinate leader. If you have enough Republic units out, you can coordinate to get some stuff. But again, most decks weren't playing yellow. But this is something else that you can play with that Padme if you want, because then you get that Raid 2, making him a 5 hitter. A 5/4 when attacking. 2, 3 triple J-type Nebian Starfighter. 1 Thailand Shuttle. Triple Captain Typho, specialty rare. Again, 4/4/5 with Sentinel, and then when units attack, you may disclose Command and Heroic. And if you do, heal 1 damage from your base. So basically, he's allowed you to heal while he's being attacked. 2 Nabooian Starskiff. Double Stinger Mantis. 1 Hunter. Double Naboo Security Force. 1 Caliron Beck. Double Dogfight. Triple Sneaking Suspicion. Double Bogged Down. 1 Charged with Corruption. And finally, 2 with Thunderous Applause. So that's what you get in the Padme spotlight here. So let's kind of see what the tips and tricks tell us to do with Padme. Tips: while deciding what card to resource, consider also what disclose abilities you'll want to have access to this round. So once again, every disclosed card requires a card of a color to be in your hand. So if you want to use Bogged Down, you need to have a yellow in your hand. You want to use Thunderous Applause, you need a green in your hand. If you want to say use one of our others, let's see, Captain Typho, you need both colors in your hand, or you need a card with both colors on it in your hand. So it's just kind of telling you be cautious with what you resource, because you may not be able to disclose, which is very important in this strategy. The unit in Padme deck are mostly low cost and aggressive, so you should roughly ask yourself if you can win a race against your opponent with what you have in place. So basically it's telling you you're hyper aggression, you're a low body count, you're basically a body count that has low health. Your body count is very low cost, guys, as we saw. Like, I think the max you get to is 7, but you have a lot of like 4s and a lot of 3s in here, so a lot of 2s. So basically your bodies are very cheap, but again, cheap bodies sometimes don't survive very long in the long game. So basically you have to be hyper aggressive with this leader, because the long game is not your friend. Aggression decks do not like the long game. Other decks that like control are very much on the long game. So basically it's just kind of telling you racing against your opponent, smashing their base instead of maybe playing the trading game. And don't forget your plots. Check your resources when you deploy your leader in case you have any plots to play. The only plots I saw were like Sneaking Suspicion to give you a +1/+1. What other cards? Is that really the only plot card they gave you, and they just gave you a tip here for a plot? I guess if you can plot multiple ones of them out. I guess you do have Jar Jar, so you could plot out Jar Jar Binks and get that +2/+2 to add Padme or something. But yeah, that's it. That's all our plot that we have. So not much plotting going on in this deck, unlike the Chancellor, which makes a lot more sense. Trick's C-3PO ability does more than damage than having him attack. You should try to use his ability and then replay him regularly. So basically they're kind of telling you here with 3PO is that, especially with disclosure needed for a command and heroic, and because this always returns your opponent always knows that you have this card in your hand. So you tap his ability, you give someone +2/+2 for the faith, return to your hand. That whole phase lasts, so your opponent would have to bash into it. They want to get rid of it. And then because he's a 1-cost 1/3, you just play him again next turn and force your opponent to have to out him, or force one of your opponent's first plays to go after him. He's also really nice because, again, since he's a card that return back to your hand, you'll be able to as well trigger Padme's ability when you go for the disclose mechanic there. So it's pretty nice. Padme can capture most units with morale authority, and it makes her a deadly 5-power leader, considering saving it for her. So basically they're telling you flip her, then give her the extra +2 from moral authority, and when played, the attached unit captures an enemy non-leader unit with health less remaining health than it. It has an 8 health body on it right now, so basically you can capture guys that are 8, 7 or less health than you with moral authority, which is pretty nice, and then you'll be a 5 with a capture, which is pretty interesting. And then Captain Tycho can easily trigger Padme's damage multiple times if she's deployed, and he can protect her while doing it. Again, remember, Captain Typho is whenever he's attacked. So what they're saying is that he has Sentinel, so meaning he has to constantly be attacked. When this unit is attacked, you may disclose a command and a heroic. If you do, heal 1 damage from her base. Because once she's flipped, like I said, she's not a once per turn on her flip. She's a constantly able to damage a unit on the board, so that can definitely help you swing games into your favor and stuff like that. So what they're saying is have this up, this protects Padme, and then this can constantly trigger to have Padme then deal damage back. So you could have someone swing into this with maybe enough that could survive Captain Typho's 4 attack, but with Padme, then they could die with Captain Typho. It's kind of an interesting little tip there, trick with her deck. So that is the Padme, of course, spotlight here. So with that said, which spotlight do I think I like the most? Like, looking at them from a 1,000-foot view, like, which one would I think has the better, like, staying power as a leader that I could see in, like, the the Secrets of Power meta, the SOP meta. For a long time I was calling it SEC meta, but that's not even correct. That's not even right. It's SOP. They always abbreviate it with the first letter and the first letter of the first two words, and then usually the O gets shoved in there because it's Secrets of Power. But nonetheless, which one do I think actually has like more playability? Oh, it is going to be SEC. Holy crap, I'm wrong. It is SEC. So I guess it's just SEC. So they're just taking the SEC up there. For some reason, I thought it was SOP. Man, here I was confusing myself. But anyways, which one do I think really can make a splash in the meta? Which one do I think like has the best deck? I mean, it's on your play style. This one is going to play for the long game because, well, it's got to play the long game. You can't flip into your 7, and it does have some pretty good plot cards in it that you can combo with him once he flips over, like they say, like Sly Moore into Masmada into Jar Jar Binks. So you get a pretty big swing that turn, not mentioning that you can give -2/-2 to a lot of your opponent's stuff on the board as well. So it's kind of interesting. And then we have Padme Amidala, which basically allows you to reveal a bunch of cards from your hand, especially with the new Disclose mechanic, and then basically deal damage to your opponent's units. But like I said, I feel this has a little more playability with like Tarkin Town in to like reveal something early into the game and then be able to swing for damage. So it's going to be kind of interesting, exactly in my opinion. I mean, it really is on your opinion, guys. I buy them both. I have them both because I want the specialty rare cards. I also do it because of Paul and I's play series, so I have to have both starter decks for once we reach the SEC. Once we're ready to start playing SEC, we'll be able to immediately just start going into this. And like I said, I'm just a big Star Wars fanboy, and I like both these leaders. I think they have both their uses, but if I'm talking about spotlight leaders, you don't really see a lot of them. Like the JTL meta, it made sense. Like Boba and Han were seeing play because they're actually both good leaders. Even post JTL, you still had we still had both of those leaders being very viable. The LOF, I mean, both of those leaders spotted up every now and again, Qui-Gon and Darth Maul, but they really never felt like good leaders to like hold down to where the meta really was. And these two, I think if you're going to claim one of them, I think Padme Amidala has the better chance to be more playable than Chancellor Palpatine. Nothing against Chancellor Palpatine, because I think green is a really good color for this, and maybe you can throw some more plot cards in there to make him work. But really, I feel like Padme just has the better staying power as a leader. I like her leader a whole lot more because I think there's a lot of ability to like do ping damage in this game and have that, especially because she's a one-time ping on her backside. Why on her front side she's a one-time use ping, but on her backside she's a full use ping, so she can ping every single time something is revealed or discarded. So you could go it has to be your hand. So there's plenty of like disclose cards in this set that are just that are in heroic, that are also in just generic colors. So there's a lot of stuff you can basically do with this leader, and I think there is a lot of stuff I think this leader could do, and I think this leader has a little more playability than the Chancellor. But overall, I don't think the decks are too bad. Again, these are just great ways to get in the game. They quickly get you some cards. Yes, you get a lot of one-odds, but again, most of that stuff you'll easily be able to pick up with a couple booster boxes or buying what you need, and you'll be able to play. So again, you'll get all your specialty rare cards, which again, a lot of them are really good. Like I think that Anakin is going to see some play because again, being able to come down and have a Padme unit, or even just come down and not get the raid, it's still a 3/3/4 down on the ground. It's a little better if you had a Padme out because then you get the raid too, but it should not be understated. I think that is a good card. The Ahsoka Tano I don't think is too bad either for Padme Amidala, and I feel like Captain Typho really is only good maybe if you're going to play something that like wants you to be revealing and pinging. So that's really about it for the specialty rares for the Chancellor. I think some decks might play around with Cad Bane. I feel like I Am the Senate can go into Governor Price because of her ability. Every time there's a spy token or a token out on the board, she gets a +1, so she constantly can get buffed up. And I am the Senate for 6 cost to create 5 spy tokens. The turn you flip over Price is pretty good. That gets you a +6 already on her back. And then like I think there's supposed to be one. And then the Chancellor's shuttle. I mean, it's really nice. There's really only 2 Chancellor Palpatine leaders, and of course, Blue Chancellor from Twilight of the Republic is kind of the common Chancellor Palpatine to play, and all that. But again, that leader goes into Chancellor Palpatine. Chancellor Palpatine and into Darth Sidious. So because it's villainy on its side, you'd have to play it the turn you are Darth Sidious, but then you could flip right over to Chancellor Palpatine, and then when defeated, you'd get it. So like I said, Twilight Republic Chancellor to Darth Sidious is considerably the meta for it all. So that's kind of what we want to play with. But yeah, I don't know. It's on your opinion, guys. My opinion, I feel like the Padme's a little better, but both decks are solid to try out. One's aggressive, one's long form play, but again, they're great just to get you into the game. They're perfect ways just to start out, and then there's plenty of ways to upgrade these decks, pulling out the cards that are kind of bad and then putting in more better cards. So again, they're a great starting point to anyone trying to get into the game who wants to start out. So this is just here to show you what the decks look like and my opinions, how I feel about them, and all of that. Again, we didn't break down every card. We're not going to break down game mechanics here for that. That's not what we were doing here. We're just breaking down the decks and giving some of my thoughts on the decks of which one I think is a little better. I feel like Padme is just a little better, especially if you're aggro. But if you're in the long game, Chancellor Palpatine isn't that bad either. So you guys let me know down in the comments your thoughts on the two Spotlight decks. What are your thoughts overall on them? Which one have you decided to pick up? Which one are you going to pick up after watching this video? And overall, which leader, in your opinion, do you think is going to make a bigger splash in the SEC meta? Padme Amidala or Chancellor Palpatine? And while you're commenting, do make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you can notify when my videos go live for you. And we'll see you here next time on Dragons TCG.